the old Russian territory. Its history a monument to humanity, our ability to survive the unpredictability of changing tides. Few conquerors stood over this vast landscape in our time. You could name them on one hand. But Russia had stood against the Mongol hordes, French and German aggression, and the Ottomans, just to name a few. And only the Mongol truly commanded the frontier, and even then, it wasn't an absolute victory. They signed a policy of tribute with the merchants of Novigrad and Muscovy, showing that humanity's need for warfare was always trumped by material gain. And now look at it. Occupied by devils and kings and some type of hive infestation and the remnants of the so-called taken. But even these would-be conquerors failed in their ability to occupy the great Russian expanse. The wall still stands, the colony ships, ripe with the sleeping skeletons, humbled the scavenger Elixni and the hive broods. Hold fast to the notion. If old Russia still stands, so do we. So as long as that wall remains, we remain. It could be so simple to give it all in a moment. Forget human history and just give in to whatever your vice, despair, pity, or self-sabotage, all poisons circulating the mind. How do you recover from this? The emptying of one's soul in the simple squeeze of a trigger. Losing it all. Everything you thought you were for the idea of material gain. And what do we honestly gain from fame? Our name remembered, or chanted, or perhaps loved, written about. Our character taken to the extreme, our vices expelled, and any murky portions of our past buried under the idealism of heroics and ability. A piece of all of us seek this. You can hide it or attempt to scoff at the feeling. You might even say you're above it. Such base romanticism. But somewhere, whether you embrace it or not, your heart longs for it. The crowd, holding your mantle of achievement towards the skies. The original Iron Banner games were much different than they are now. Back then it was a spectacle, more about which names you faced, who you defeated, and how well you played. Now it's policed, promoted, and even gambled on. It isn't about who's the better warrior, it's about who the crowd wants to see win. When I played, the crowd didn't matter. The Iron Lords did. Saladin and the like. Achieving in front of them secured untold riches and secrets kept tightly locked away from the standard rank and file. That's what drove some, like myself, to bend the rules in our favor with test weaponry designed to disable a Guardian's ghost from revival. Essentially, a few of us thought that if we could secure an opening kill and disable a Guardian's ghost for an hour or so, the match would end, and we would move on into the next tier, none the wiser. That's what I was promised, what I wished to believe. Seldom do puppets see their own fate. And now, I return to the place of exile to retrieve an item I thought a tool to my glory. How wrong I was. Guardians lay dead because ambition to be a name chanted by the city outweighed honor. They won't rematerialize ever. Their names inscribed upon my mind, branding my eyesight with their faces for an eternity. Brothers and sisters who didn't see the fall of Crota, or the imprisonment of Skolis, and the turning of the blade against Oryx because one of their own feigned ally I remember only a few things before I was brought back. Glimpses, really, not even sure if they're real. But I like to think that these memories of my childhood is something good, something real. I used to read stories of the greats, men and women that overcame insurmountable obstacles, some grand enemy or alien invasion, and everything was fine. Their loved ones lived on because they won the day. They were unbroken. In fact, in the end of their story, they came out even stronger. That their trials were simply tests. They didn't have scars or failures or impracticalities or vices. They were the apex of everything we hoped to be. I so deeply hoped to become one of these greats. I thought through some grand achievement in an arena of blood and sweat was to be my trial. That my legacy, would live on eternally in the minds of all. And then I saw a shortcut, a cheat, a stimulant that would have changed it, made it a little easier, and why wouldn't I take it? I've worked so hard. I'm so tired. My breath reeks of exhaustion, my spirit decaying, and my will broken. They never talk about the greats being tired or scared or hated, because those greats are as real as the memories they occupy. I think the older the lesson of motivation is sink or swim. You could drown in agony of your mistakes, wither away with the help of self-pity, and say that exhaustion has won. You can die with the knowledge that your name will only be a minor footnote in the monumental tome of human history. And when those come across your name and read it aloud, only a small grimace of disgust appears upon their face, and it remains there until they turn the page onto someone who trumped your failure. Or you can swim.